Hey guys, Mr. Lloyd here. Going to work with you on April 21st. This is going to say day 2 right up here. Let me zoom in here and show you what we're working on today. So this is April 21st, and we'll go through this couple pages here on this video. So again, these pages have a lot of instruction on them, and there aren't as many problems on these pages. They kind of, if you work down these pages and you read each line, there's one or two things to do on each page. So pretty short, pretty straightforward here. We're trying to kind of ease up a little bit on the total workload so that we're not stressing you guys out too much. Okay, so day 2, here we go. First part we're trying to do is we're going to write 37% as a decimal. That part we've done a lot in class, and that's pretty straightforward. We're just rewriting it 0.37. So what we do here is we just shift the decimal point. Right now at 37%, 37, it's the decimal, even though it's not there, it's implied that it's after the 7, so we shift it over 2 places right in front of the 3, and that's how we write it as a decimal. So straightforward there. Problem number 1 says, how can you tell that there are 300 students in the school? So you had to look at the diagram, and from the other page, it's just a 10 by 10 grid. We know that 10 times 10 equals 100. So it's just the way they're arranged. You can see that very quickly visually there. Here, problem number 2, it asked us to select one of these methods and solve the problem that way. And so I just selected part C. This is John's idea. This is the proportion, or the proportion method, which uses the cross multiplication skill. It's what I've really heavily emphasized this year. And so you can see my cross multiplication here. 35 over 100 equals x over 300. We're trying to figure out what 35% of 300 is, and as we work through, we find that 35% of 300 is 105. Okay, so pretty straightforward there. Let me just show you the next page. Next page had a lot of instruction. I'm not going to go through and reread all the instruction. I know you guys can read that on your own, but let me just take you down to problem 4. Here we've got a 1% ratio table, so everything 1% I just wrote as 1 per 100 here. And so 1% of 100 is 1, 1% of 200 is 2, 1% of 300 is 3, 1% of 400, 4, 1% of 500, 5. So pretty straightforward there. We've done these in class a whole bunch. We're just filling in the missing values on the table. And then similarly down here, we've got a 4% ratio table, so it's 4 parts per 100. And so here we're given some values, and you can see we're filling them in. So 4% of 100 is 4. 8 is 4% of 200. 4% of 300 is 12. 16 is 4% of 400, and 4% of 500 is 20. So pretty straightforward there, not a whole lot of calculation needed. And then the final part, this is that challenge and optional part down here. And I did each one of these in different colors. So A is in pink. When you find 10% of a number, why is the result always less than the original? Because 10% equals 1/10. Remember, we can always write percents as fractions, and so I just wrote 10% as its fraction, 1/10. And so when we find 10% of a number, we're really finding 1/10 of the whole, and of course 1/10 of the whole is less than the whole. So that answers part A. Part B here, explain your method for finding 45% of 500. I chose on this problem to do a decimal conversion. So I convert 45% to the decimal by turning it into 0.45. Then I multiply that decimal by 500. I get 225. So 45% of 500 is 225. And then part C here, make up a word problem that involves finding a percent of 300 students. Oops, I did trout instead of students. Goofed up there, that's okay. So here I just say Giant Springs hatchery grew 300 trout. 120 trout will be moved to Wood Lake. What percent of trout will be moved to Wood Lake? And then we just set it up as a proportion to solve it. All right, guys, that is all the time we have for this video. I'll see you on the next one shortly. Thanks for watching.